out of the ordinary insights. Brought to you by Investec Specialist Bank.
Passionate about transformation, entrepreneurship and insurance, Sello Moloko has had a vast career in the South African business arena. Currently serving as chairman of the Alexander Forbes Group, he chats to CNBC Africa's Bronwyn Nielsen at the Alexander Forbes head office in Sandton, Johannesburg.
You're watching Captains of Industry here on CNBC Africa, and I'm speaking to Sello Moloko, the chairperson of Alexander Forbes. Sello, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're firmly in the upper echelons of business in South Africa. I want you to tell me how you got there.
It was an interesting journey up from where I grew up in Soweto. I finished my high school then, and I went to the University of Cape Town. But in my third year, I got a scholarship to go overseas. So I finished a Bachelor of Science degree with an honors in mathematics. And then I went on to do postgraduate studies in education. So I started.
So a very firm educational base.
It was, I believe it was a very firm educational base, you know. And then at that time, I heard about a career in the actuarial profession. That's when I came across a company called Alexander Forbes. So my career started here in 1989 when I joined as an actuarial assistant. And then I grew in the actuarial profession, you know, through the consulting route. But it is through that I understood that, you know, with a client, a pension fund client, typically you have the liability side, which is what I was dealing with in my early days. Then I understood that there was the asset side, so I got interested in asset management. And so
you spent some time at Old Mutual. In fact, you spent quite a lot of time at Old Mutual.
I did. I started out at Brait Asset Managers, or what it was called Capital Alliance at the beginning. Changed its name to Brait Asset Managers. Then I moved to Old Mutual Asset Managers.
In terms of your career at Old Mutual, you moved through the ranks and it culminated into a position as CEO of Old Mutual Asset Managers. I see that was a very brief part of the journey. What made you leave Old Mutual at that time?
I think at the time, you know, there were just, you know, I had spent a wonderful career at Old Mutual, grew there, loved the people that I work with. I just disagreed with certain things, you know, and out of principle, I decided that I will move on. And that's when I, you know, I started my small little company called Sello Group.
Now let's talk about your company and what your aspirations are for the group.
The company that I have, Sello Group, is a company that I formed with the backing of one of the institutions, and later on another institution came on board as a shareholder. So our aspirations really is to do, you know, off-balance sheet activities, you know, acquiring, you know, meaningful positions in strategic companies. So far, you know, we have done well. We have, you know, a number of interests, including interest in property, in financial services.
So it's across the board. There's no sectoral bias.
There's a very strong bias towards financial services and property, but there's no specific bias at this stage. You know, we are attracted to companies that are very strong, very good companies, well managed, with good cash flows. That's what attracted to.
Sibanye, you've also recently accepted a position as non-executive chairman of Sibanye Gold.
I have. You know, it's an exciting journey with Sibanye Gold. It's a company that is, at the moment, South African focused, with aspirations to become the #1 gold producer that is based in South Africa.
Do you think it's going to be an exciting story?
I think it is going to be an exciting story. You know, the excitement doesn't come with its own challenges, but I believe it's going to be an exciting journey. It's a challenging position in the sense that, you know, given all the challenges that we know of that the mining industry faces.
You used to be seen as a BEE activist, and I go back now to your appointment at Alexander Forbes. It was relatively tumultuous in that there were a number of people, Jimmy Manye among others, who said that you had perhaps disregarded black economic empowerment in accepting a non-executive position as chairperson of Alexander Forbes. Can you take me back to that time?
I think what we need to actually put into context is that my role at Forbes is not non-executive, it's actually executive. So that's the first thing. So that in itself explains the misunderstanding of the time. I remain a BE activist. I remain very passionate about transformation. And that issue that we went through with Jimmy was a storm in a teacup. It's a matter that is past us. We continue at Alexander Forbes to do what is right, to continue with our journey to transformation. At the time, it must be noted, at the time when I took over as chairman of Alexander Forbes, our BE rating was at level 5. Today, we are at level 2.
So talk to